The final stage, the final turn, the final straight. This is race 22 and the decision time has come. The decisions have to be made right here on this evening. Welcome to the Mainstream Racing Series, race number 22, the last one in Albert Park, Australia. Usually a season starts in the Albert Park. We decided that our season will end here in this very beautiful track, but before we come to the track that hosts us tonight, a few important things to let you guys know before. Because first thing I want to say on this special evening, I want to speak out a big thanks to the Mainstream Racing Series for getting me in a bloody rookie when it comes to online streaming, just a lifelong fan and more or less medium-paced Formula 1 driver who had zero experiences in streaming, broadcasting or commentating. And yeah, the lads welcomed me very warmly, I would like to say, and it has worked out pretty well. This is a really cool group to be part of, and thanks for having me among you guys. Second thing, I want to thank you, the Mainstream Racers, for this really cool season. We have had cool races with a lot of good fighting, quality racing, and yeah, just a great 22 weeks have passed by, and this is a very, very friendly but still competitively racing group of friends, I would like to call it, and very respectful and helping out each other, so very warm and nice community to be part of. Second thing, as this is the last race of season 1, there will be a season 2, but we will have 1 week of break and start the new season then at February the 24th, Wednesday evenings, and there will be a few little changes for the next season, but the most important things will stay the same, and I hope just as much will the driver grid stay the same. And so we finally come to what's important for tonight. First thing of importance is how we race. That's a 18 minutes qualifying followed by a 50% race. That should be something around 28 laps here in Melbourne. Equal car performances, safety car is on, likewise to VSC. Dynamic weather, that sometimes is a topic in Australia. Full damage and regular corner cutting. This is one specialty about MRs. And the second specialty is the fact that both pit assists are off, so you have to manually maintain the velocity when entering the pit lane. Gearbox is manual, traction control medium, of course. That's just normal how things are in online racing worlds. This is a short look at the Melbourne track, a very popular track, and it is 5.3 kilometers of length, has 16 turns. The lap record is still dating back to Michael Schumacher times of 2004, a 124.1, but I'm very sure that our drivers will blast that by multiple seconds in the qualifying in just a moment. And it is ruled as very easy. There are a few things to watch out for, like very close walls, so On some places there is no margin for errors, and especially the last turn and turn 12 and 13 are really hard to take. So here we are back in the lobby. Let's have a look who has already checked in. We will not have a full grid tonight. We would have had reserves, but our admins said that there will not be anyone reserving any seat, just because of the fact that we do not want any reserve or more or less stranger guy to interfere in the championship battles or take points away for some midfield battles. That's why we will race with probably 18 drivers, 18 regular drivers. And those are, here we see David Lawson, our hosts, Scuba, Stephen Hodgetts finally returned after a few weeks of break due to work issues. We see, who else do we see? Leonard Cam, this is very important, a returner after being sidelined multiple weeks due to back surgery issues. We see Tom Walsh, who announced that he's not feeling well, but still tries his best to be with us here tonight. And that's me, hello. Who am I still missing? One important thing is Zemo, that's Peter Simpson. And there he is, Dominic Walsh in the Williams. Those two guys will battle it out. And this brings me to the fourth and most important topic for this evening, our championship battles. In first place at the moment, after a great result in the last race, is Peter Simpson with 322 points, just 4 points ahead of Dominic Walsh. So there is a big battle going on between those two guys for P1. In P3 then Thomas Walsh cemented. He is 32 points behind Peter Simpson. He kept his championship chances alive until more or less last week. Now with 32 points, it's impossible for him to move up or down. While we see the first pictures of the track, the parking lot. This is turn 4 and 5. Very interesting fact that we raced over a parking lot. Good example for the fact that this is a non-permanent racetrack. So some parts of it are just usual daily drivable streets of Melbourne and the Albert Park. Yes, and then we come back to our standings. P1 and P2 is still up for grabs. Peter Simpson leads by 4 points. Then we will see some interesting battle for 4th position. In P4 we see at the moment Stefan Williams, who made up a lot of positions in the last weeks. He is standing there with 126 points and has 3 men right behind him. That's Mike Taylor, Andrew Mond and Jarne van der Bril. Those 4 guys are all within 12 points, but sadly one person is already out of this battle tonight. This is Jarne van der Bril, the Belgian man who dares to have birthday today. No, just kidding. Happy birthday. And sadly you tried but couldn't make it in time. So Jarne van der Bril is cemented in 7th position of our overall standings. Makes the run on P4 just a 3-man battle. Williams versus Taylor versus Mont within 11 points, those 3 guys. Then in P10, Stuart McDonald, by the name of Leonard Cam, the comebacker, is just 1 point barely ahead of Brandon Walsh, the Ninja Pro. So those 2 guys we will have to have an eye on. Whoever finishes ahead of each other will be given the 10th position. And then a big battle for 12th. That's Steven Horchitz, Scuba, versus Mirko Caruso, the Rockstar. And those two guys are square. 62 points each. So whoever finishes in front is being granted P12, and those two guys have to battle it out because they might be the decisive factor in our Constructors Championship, as we see Williams 4 points ahead of Ferrari and then another 4 points on Racing Point. So even though the Racing Points are not in the championship battle for Drivers' Championship and sadly are short-handed today due to the birthday of Jarne van der Brijl, there's still everything possible. Haha, while we see the first one who has crashed, and that was Gary. Just on the outlap he threw his Alfa Romeo away. That's not how you have a good qualifying. And another championship battle's going on for P7. There we see Haas, McLaren and Mercedes. Those three constructors within just 7 points, so everything's possible for them too. Yes, for them too, because today we see, let me check, we should see all these teams being with 2 drivers. No, it's Grimo is the only driver for Haas, so the Haas is short-handed against 2 Mercedes and 2 McLaren. So a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of explanation. I can tell you I have the biggest note sheet I have ever written down, with all possibilities and calculations and what and where and how. If Simo, if Dom does, if Simo will finish, and blah blah blah. The biggest note sheet ever. If I could have written down the whole wall, I think I would have done it. And I will try my best to keep you guys updated about the ongoing battles. So now for the moment, as I told you a lot of stuff, what is important for today. We see the first times coming in. Let's get in some more information. We see already the first hot lap from Peter Simpson. Simo blasting all the times we've seen thus far, being over a second faster than anyone. Thomas Walsh, by the way, I mixed up Thomas Walsh and Mike Taylor. Mike Taylor was the one who told us he does not feel well and just tries his best to get some points in the battle against Stefan Williams. So we see the gap, and it's really interesting because P2, 3, 4, look at that, how close they are. Dom Walsh just 9 thousandths behind his brother Tom, and just 1,000 of a second in front of Stefan Williams. 1,000 of a second is a quarter of an eye blink. That's really incredible. And yeah, so this is just the first glimpse you can have how close the MRS is, how close our drivers are, while we see the second one crashing. This was Gosiga Simpa Simon Gustafsson in the second McLaren. Had a not competitive time, crashed probably on the in-lap back to the pits, so he has another 15 minutes of time to grab some drinks and maybe a few snacks and something and watch his guys, because he is out of qualifying for the moment. So let's have a look at some place where action is going on. We see Mercy Man, Martin Ward, on a hard lap. Lap data, this one I am still missing. Martin Ward, who just announced that he will stay with us for another year in the second Renault. being teammate to Martin Price. Price is sitting in 7th at the moment. And Mercyman, Martin Ward pushes his Renault into P11. The man with a big head, how his buddy David Lawson once called him. So this looks like something like a safety lap for him. Not the fastest, not the most competitive lap time yet, but at least he has a time set and will so with not be in last position. And we see the next one who has crashed. There he is, Mirko Caruso, the rockstar, lacking a front wheel, and he is out. Didn't I mention it? Didn't I say it? The walls are close, and we have now seen even 2 guys who crashed before being able to put up a competitive lap time. So Blake, Gary and Caruso were a bit too eager on their each first hot lap. And Mercyman tried a second hot lap, Martin Ward, but threw it away here in turn 13 and will return to the pits here. No, he won't! Haha! We have just been with him when he showed us how easily a car is lost in this vicious turn 15. And Greg Dickinson was running over some debris from him. Or was it Monster? No, it was Andrew Mont, who is just starting on another hot lap here. Yeah, Andrew Mont in the Red Bull. He is fighting against Mike Taylor and Stefan Williams for 4th position in the overall standings, of course. And let's stay with him for a moment on his hot lap, on his second shot already. And he's improving himself by almost a second just in Sector 1. And Leonard Cam is back. We've seen him checking out. Probably some internet connection issues for him. So at the end of Sector 2, Andrew Mont still gaining on time, 1.2 seconds his improvement, while we are riding on his TV pod here in the last sector. 2 right-handers just lifting a little bit here in turn 14. Turn 15, one of the slowest parts of the track. And turn 16, very hard to take in the qualifying. But he did it very cautiously and safely, I would like to say. And in the end, wow, he has gained by almost 2 seconds and pushed his Red Bull in P2. Front row for Andrew Mont. Wow, where did that come from? Great result for our Modster, how he's sometimes called. The Monster. So let's have a look. Where else is something going on? We are here with Torpedo Jack Rocknan, but it looks like he is not on a hot lap anymore. Oh, he has lifted. He is coming back to the pits. He sits in P7 right now. That's not too bad, and a good result for both the Mercedes is heavily needed to fight against, make up points against McLaren and Haas. One McLaren is already out of qualifying, the other one, Leonard Cam, let's have a look at him. Stu McDonald, here he is, still on his outlap. Nice to see him back again. I hope that sitting in his chair is comfortable enough for him to stay with us for the next 1.5 hours. So, and while he is on his outlap, I have been given some information about the weather report in the upcoming race. We will see a dry start and probably a wet finish. So after tons of back and forth in our championship, this could just be the, yeah, how can I say, the incredible finish, the most dramatic finish that we maybe can just hope for. While we watch Leonard Cam, Stu McDonald starting his hot lap, we see the next one who found a wall to crash in. That is Ryan Price. You can see the yellow in Sector 2. And yeah, his car has just vanished. But Ryan Price is maximally sitting in P11. And he is not in a position battle in the standings. So yeah, if he stays in P11, that would be more or less okay for him. He is close to the top 10 and would be the first one with free tire option to start the race. Stu McDonald, Leonard Cam, the only one who... the next one to lose his car! My goodness! My goodness! Stu McDonald, we were right with you on your return to our qualifying. Big crash for him at the exit of turn 12. And it's easy to lose a car there, and you are not the first one to do it right there. I think it was the same spot as Ryan Price did just a minute ago. Yeah. So we have 3 guys who are out with no time set and will not set the time. The only one who did not yet but is running still. Here we see Grimo, the only Haas tonight, so he is short-handed in the battle against McLaren and Mercedes. Let's see if he can at least have a good quality time and maybe get some distance between his rivals. The Haas is the leading team of those 3. 2 points ahead of McLaren, 7 ahead of Mercedes. So he just needs to finish in front of those other drivers and everything's fine for Gene Haas. And his time will stop at 1:21.8. That gives him P10. That's an okay time, but not a great one. Both the Mercedes in front of him. Oh yeah, and both the McLaren behind. So at least one of the 2 teams he is able to beat, at least how things stand right now. And now he needs to hurry. He needs to hurry back to his pits. Trying to get some fresh softs mounted if he wants to run again. And run again. Again running is Jack Rocknan. But I'm not sure. I think we have just come a little bit late again for his hot lap. He is already finished. What is Stephen Hodgetts doing? He found 1.5 tenths in Sector 1 at the end of Sector 2. He lost just 1.5 tenths. And he just lets Brendan Walsh pass. He will try to get back to his pits, mount fresh softs again and hurry out again, I suppose. He is on a battle, on a mission against Rockstar, and as Rockstar is inactive right now, crashed his car, he will not have another hot lap, so he is already in front of his biggest rival already, and he's going on a hot lap again, so he had enough of gasoline with him to just run again here. But for the moment, let's have a look what our championship contenders are doing. Let's have a look at Dominic Walsh. Dom Walsh, who has just started his hot lap. Now it's getting important. He's in 5th now. That's not where he hoped to be, I'm sure. He's at the end of Sector 1 here. Improving by just barely a tenth. But this time has been the fastest time ever posted in Sector 1. You might have seen the purple color on the minimap on the right hand side. In front of him is Andrew Mont, who's on an out lap. Stefan Williams on a hot lap. Barely improving himself. Brandon Walsh is already finished. He pushed ahead for second, and Dominic Walsh at the end of Sector 2. He was just improving by 1/10 again. 1/10, that is nothing for him. That brings him maybe on to P4, just into second row, but P4 is not where he needs to be if he wants to attack Simo in the end again. And the final position for Dom Walsh is P2. Wow, P2. He has found half a second in the last sector and just runs wide here. And Simo is out. I cannot jump to him, but he's still moving. So he has just decided that his final hot lap is not improvable again. Tom Walsh pushing into third. The first two guys are out. The first row, our number one contenders will start next to each other. Tom Walsh cannot reach them anymore. What is David Lawson doing? Is Lawson maybe a late pole position candidate? No. He has already lifted. He is through. What does Stefan Williams do? He surprised us at the beginning of the qualifying with a very hot lap in his Alpha Tauri. 2/10 of improvement in the first sector. That would be enough to push ahead by one starting row, but not for the pole. Let's have a look at Andrew Mont, who is just behind him. Stefan Williams, 2.5 of improvement. Andrew Mont has just lost the same amount of time, so Mont is finished. Mont maximally in P7. All eyes now on Stefan Williams. Where will he be starting? Which row will it be? One turn left to decide. He has lifted. He is off the throttle. No improvement for Williams. He will be in P6. And Grimo may be the last one who is still on a hot lap. 2 turns left. Will he push ahead of any Mercedes? And he does! P8, giving him at least the upper hand against one Mercedes. At least the Mercedes of Jack Rocknian is starting behind him. Both the McLaren are already behind him. And oh no, I can't believe it. I missed it. Sadly, I missed it. Thomas Walsh, a late lunge forward. I thought he was already finished. Thomas Walsh pushing his brother into P3. Haha, wow. Great qualifying from our MRS drivers with some surprises, I would like to say. Here's the final result of our last qualifying of the season. Peter Simpson has done it. He will start in pole, pushing the time under a 1:20 mark. Then Tom Walsh, third Tom Walsh, fourth Brandon Walsh, fifth David Lawson, 6 Stefan Williams, 7 Andrew Mont, 8 Grimo, 9 Scuba, 10 Mike Taylor, P11 Jack Rocknian, 12 Marian Price, P13 the other Renault of Mercyman, P14 Greg Dickinson, P15 Goziga Simpa, and no time set from Blake Gary, Stu McDonald and Mirko Caruso. So, the tension is rising. The last minute of preparation in this season has just begun. Our drivers have a few moments to get in some last setup changes, and until we start the formation lab, I will leave you alone for a moment and be back in a bit. So here we go into our formation lab, lab 0 of 29. First thing to have a look at is the tires that I used. Interesting. We have 18 drivers and 17 of them start on softs. Only P7 Stu McDonald, who opted for hards. So as we already know, the weather report that we will have a late rain midway through the race or some late stage. I suppose that Leonard Cam will try to go through on his hards until he needs to stop for inters, if we need to stop for inters, but that means he needs to stay out of trouble in the first turn and on the start. If he needs a new nose in lap 2, this strategy is already over. And we see Simo, who has rushed through the installation lap, the fastest around. He always is, and not only in the installation lab, while we see the tire strategy presented by the Amazon Web Services. And I think, yeah, I am very sure, as I know our guys, the nerves are heating up. Everyone's pulse is pumping up to their throats. They will be tensed behind the wheel, especially Simo. We have seen so many battles from Simo and Dom Walsh. It has gone back and forth and back all over the season. Uncountable lead changes throughout the whole year. Simo is the faster driver, but he tends to commit a lot more mistakes. Has 4 more DNFs than Dominic Walsh, the more consistent points gatherer. But this all is unimportant now for the moment. All eyes on the start. The last race is on. Australia has started. More or less clean start from everyone. A bit of debris flying already in the background, and Dom Walsh has lost positions. Dom Walsh in the grass. He will lose a lot of positions here. Dom Walsh back to P15 even Craig Dickinson was ahead of him, and we have an early safety car here. First safety car in lap 1, in turn 2 actually. We see some debris flying off. We will have at least 3 men now who will need new noses. Dom Walsh crashing behind the safety car as the drivers ahead had to brake very spontaneously. And Dominic Walsh, the big loser of the start, -12 and a +5 seconds penalty, back to P15. But I can tell you one big but. Just last week in Austin, it was just the other way around. Because after lap 1, Dominic Walsh was the leader. Simo was in last position. Position in lap 2. And guess who won? Yes, Simo, the last one. And it was a rainy race too. Just the same. Start in dry and finish in wet conditions. So it's going to be hectic, it's going to be crazy, but that's actually just what we want to see. And it is all but over. Let's have a look what Dominic Walsh will do. We'll get a new nose, we'll get some new tires, but which tires will he get? I would like to think that he's opts for mediums or hards. Yes, medium tires for him, first serving a penalty. Medium. It is yellow, isn't it? Yes, yellow color on his tires. New nose here. He will try to go through until the rain on this set of mediums. Blake, Gary, Dickinson. And Stephen Hodgett's Scuba was the fourth one in actually, who needed a new nose. So we still see 2 penalties. +5 each for Blake, Gary and Craig Dickinson. Yeah, but this is not a topic right now, at least not yet. And Scuba is slow. Scuba is slow. He is still able to race. Gary is. What's gonna happen? They have to let Scuba pass as we are behind safety car situation. Okay. Okay. So everything's sorted here again in the back of the field. The field is very far away of each other, so I would like to assume that we see another lap of safety car here. Blake Gary, here he is in last position. So let's have a look at our leader, Simo. He probably will feel a bit of, lifting the nerves, not as nervous maybe as he was before. Everything went cleanly for him on the start. For the moment he can dictate the pace and just set his pace. He just needs to finish in front of Dom Walsh and he will be the champion, as he leads by 4 points anyway. And no pressure on Simo at the moment. Full load of pressure on Dominic Walsh. We see Jack Rognan, who came into the pits probably for a new nose. He's now the new last position. We see, let's have a look at the tires that are used. We see Stu McDonald, Leonard Cam on hard still from the start, of course. It seemed like he was able to stay out of some troubles there, keep his nose clean, and so make his hard tires strategy work. Craig Dickinson, Dom Walsh, Jack Rognan, Stephen Hodgetts have opted for mediums in their each early stop behind the safety car. Blake Gary is on softs again. That is interesting because he's unlikely to make these softs last until rainfall. So he might need a stop again before going for inters. That's a disadvantage against some others around him. And we will see another lap of safety car because of the fact that Jack Rognan and Stephen Hodgetts were still too far behind. So one more lap of conserving the tires, of using a lot less of fuel and ERS and rubber, of course. So this might be a little bit an advantage for those who try to conserve the tires until the rain. So speaking about the medium drivers, I don't know. I have not heard the exact number of lap when the rain shall come in, but I suspect the softs not to be able to run that long. But let's just see and find out. The field is intact behind Bernd Mailänder, so everything should be cleared for a restart at the beginning of next lap. So until then, let's have a look at the other battles that are going on. Battle for P4th. Stefan Williams sitting in P4, that means he would defend his overall 4th. Mike Taylor in 7 and Andrew Mont. Where is Andrew Mont? Monster in 5th. So Monster could not attack Williams, but would attack Mike Taylor, safety car in this lap. As P5 he would make 4 more points than Taylor, and that would push him ahead. Would push Andrew Mont from 6th into 5th. And Leonard Cam does not receive a point for P11. His opponent Ninja Pro is in 3rd on a podium, so you can imagine who will be in 10th, at least how things stand right now. And battle for 12th, Scuba versus Rockstar. No one would get a point here at the moment, so square as it is. So we are at the end of the lap. Seymour is dictating the pace, and he has picked up the pace and tries to run away from everyone. He is away from Tom Walsh, no attack from him, and behind Brandon Walsh is more or less close, but no attack from him. Then Stefan Williams, the other Alpha Tauri, Andrew Mont, David Lawson in the Mercedes, yellow in sector 1 already again. No, already vanished. We've seen Mike Taylor losing a position against Mercy Man. Maybe that was the one who caused yellow. It's still, or again yellow! Big crash here! Wow, Rockstar pushed through! Ooh, oh god, oh god, oh god, a lot of chaos, chaos here, Dickinson, Mercy Man, Leonard Cam, Ninja Pro, Brandon Walsh is out. Wow, sadly I didn't have that on camera, just as it already was too late. And the next safety car, haha, the next safety car. Who? I think I can just suppose that it was Mercy Man, Martin Ward, or maybe Leonard Cam, who ran wide into the dirt and spun, and the others just crashed into those two guys. Whew, yeah, after we did not have a DNF in the first lap, in the first safety car phase, we have 4 of those checking in right at once. So, who will pit now? Lawson in, Grimo in, Gozinga Zimpa, Dominic Walsh in again. Okay. What does Dom Walsh do here? A new nose, there's nothing left on his nose. So he was involved in some crash too, already the 2nd nose in this race for Dom Walsh. But he's still in the points, he's still in P10. And he opted for softs, so maybe he is able to make them last long enough until the rain now. We will see, I suppose, 2 more laps of safety car. And then when we see green condition again, when we see the first ERS activated, we already sometime around lap 10 or something. And it might be possible for him to conserve his tires long enough until he needs to go for green. Simon Gustafsson was in the pits likewise, behind him Scuba, who is now running on fresh mediums, Mike Taylor and Blake Gary in last position, who opted from softs to mediums, so just the opposite as he did before. Yeah, and Simo is just leaning back, and yeah, he will be rather happy, I would like to call it, I would like to say, as there is already the next lap into the books that he cannot be attacked, where he cannot lose his lead of the race and the championship likewise. So things have reshapen once again. Let's have a look at the standings and how things stand right now. So the championship, the Drivers' Championship, is very obvious. Simo still leading. Dom Walsh makes just 1 point at P10, so it's everything on the Simo side here right now. The battle for 4th gets thinner and thinner. Jarne Vanderbril was already out. Mike Taylor, yeah, well, he's not out, but he is far behind. And due to the DNF of Brandon Walsh, maybe Brandon Walsh, Ninja Pro, was the one who caused this safety car crash. Maybe, and all the rest just crashed behind him. That could be possible too. Ninja Pro, Brandon Walsh is out. So Stefan Williams has just stepped onto the podium. And Andrew Mond is right behind him. Andrew Mond is 11 points behind Williams in the overall standings, so he would need to make up 12 points, and yeah, as long as Williams is leading, no possibility for him, at least leading this duel. P10, the battle for P10 is decided. It was a battle from Leonard Cam against Ninja Pro. Both are out, and Leonard Cam, Stu McDonald will stay ahead by 1 point. Congratulations to P12. And the battle for 12th has become interesting again. Stephen Hodgett, Scuba on 62 points, likewise Tomiko Caruso, Rockstar. Scuba on 12, Rockstar now gets points for P6. And so we are back to racing action, back to green condition. Thomas Walsh is already searching the slipstream of Simo. Simo was not able to shake him off just as he did earlier. And let's stay with those two guys in the front, maybe 3/10 between them only. A few position changes in the background. Mirko Caruso led past Dom Walsh, his teammate, and Dominic Walsh made up just another position. While Ryan Price is in trouble, Rockstar overtaking him on the grass. And there is Goziga Simpa is out. Goziga Simpa has crashed behind those two guys. Goziga Simpa is out. Both McLarens out, so McLaren is unable to get points in the constructor standings. But no safety car this time. No safety car this time. So what's going on here? Very close, actually something like a threesome battle. Jack Rocknean, David Lawson, and behind Dominic Walsh. The championship contender is right behind them. No DRS yet. DRS will be activated after the next lap. Goziga Simpa has now stepped out of the car. I hope you will still be with us and watch your racing mates on the last race here in the stream. We see Ryan Price and Grimo in need of new noses. Let's have a look at this battle from the TV port vision of Dominic Walsh. He will be angry. I hope only angry and not nervous. I hope he will not lose his nerves. He knows, he has the experience that being last in lap 1 means nothing sometimes. And he's still in a position to fight back. He needs to finish in front of Simo, of course. So there is still some action needed for him. Oh no, and there's a crash! There are 2 crashes, 3 crashes! My goodness! My goodness! There we see Lawson digging out of the dirt. There we see Thomas Walsh in the walls. And Andrew Mont too. Andrew Mont, who had such a great race. Where is he? Where is he? I try to catch it. Oh no, Ryan Price is far away until Pricey will reach the spot. The cars are already vanished. Whoa. After 1/3 in this race, hectic, hectic, hectic. Didn't I say it? The walls are close. Don't crash. Don't run too wide in the gravel. VSC. Virtual safety car. The drivers have to obey to limited intermediate times, but no safety car. That's a good thing to get some race action going, to get everyone into the rhythm. And due to the fact that Tom Walsh has crashed and maybe put Andrew Mont with him, maybe we see Simo in a very comfortable lead now, and Jack Rocknian on the podium, and Dominic Walsh right behind him. Dominic Walsh very close to Jack Rocknian. DRS should be activated now. Yes, Williams is split. Does he attack already here? Not yet, not yet. He is DRS equipped and on the faster tire, on the fresher tire, so all options, all advantages in the hand of Dom Walsh. But he is cautious, he waits for the DRS zone and will attack him now. Left or right, he opts for left. Rockman defending himself and stays ahead, at least for the moment. The next DRS zone is right here. Rockman stays on the very right hand side, and this time he got him. This time he got him. Dominic Walsh in second. Dominic Walsh in second. He was in last position after turn 3. And with all this hectic and chaos going on, he pushed ahead into second position. So our championship contenders in P1 and 2, Simo in 1, Dom Walsh in 2. And a big gap between them, and Dom Walsh needs to make up this gap and overtake Simo and win the race. If Simo will finishes in second and Dom Walsh wins it, he is the champion. And Mikko Caruso, does he attack? He does! Oh, a bit of a push here, but everything okay. And the Williams in P2 and 3. Mikko Caruso, our rockstar, who had a very bad qualifying, crashed on his first hot lap, started from I think P18 or something. He is now on a podium. He is on a potential podium here. And Dominic Walsh, the first Williams. He is racing it out like a buccaneer with a saber between his teeth. He is rushing over the circuit. He has already almost made up a second on Simo. Usually Simo is the faster driver and Dom Walsh the one with the fewer mistakes. But right now it seems that Dominic Walsh is a little bit faster. Maybe that is because he is on fresher softs. Six and a half seconds still between them. And the big question is now, when will it start to rain? The weather still looks pretty much fair and sunny, but there will be rain. At the end of the race there will be rain. And will we really need to stop for inters? And if, who can make his tires last long enough? Or other way around, who will need an additional pit stop? So let's have a look where some action's going on. We see Scuba, who is very close to Mike Taylor here. In the DRS zone, the rear wing is opened up and he zooms into the rear of Taylor. No attack yet, but there's another DRS zone right after this turn. He seems a little bit too far away. No chance for an attack at the end of the second DRS zone. Oops, a little bit of a braking mistake. He was a little bit too much on the grass there and lost a bit of time with it. So let's stay with Stephen Hodges for a moment, as he's the only one who is in an attacking position. Actually, they're not the only one. Grimo in P11 is close to Ryan Price. Let's have a short look here too. After the DRS zone, no attack possible for him. He's following Ryan Price, but it does not seem like he is able to close the gap fast enough to be able to attack him soon. And Simo in the pits. Simo in the pits. I always got a heart attack when I saw Simo dropping positions, but only a pit stop. Simo on softs and Pricey is out. The next one who threw the car away at the end of turn 12, and we have the third safety car of the evening. David Lawson immediately reacted to it, opted for mediums, will try to go through on them, through or until the rain. And Simo had a pit stop just one lap before the safety car. So, depending on track position, who was more or less close to the pit entry, this is maybe a mistake or maybe not. He's right now behind his teammate Stephen Hodges, who's known as a team player. He will return, he will give the position to Simo as soon as yellow is over, as Simo is in the more important battle of the championship. And Dom Walsh is leading. Dom Walsh is in the pits. Dominic Walsh. I expected him to come in. And behind him, Mikko Caruso is too. Let's see if the pit crew is fast enough that the Rockstar doesn't have to wait. Yes. Just barely, but able to. Caruso, fresh softs. Walsh, Dom Walsh, fresh softs. Blake Gary in the pits, serves a penalty first, will get fresh softs. Mike Taylor, oh no, Taylor needs to wait behind Gary, who has to serve a penalty first. That costs a lot of time for him. Everyone is opting for fresh softs, everyone on fresh softs. Except Grimo, who is on hards, just decided to stay out and make up ground. And our leader, Jack Rocknan, who did not come in, will try to make his mediums last a little bit more. So, and now we have halfway through the race, we have our championship battle back on. Simo in second, Dominic Walsh in third. Simo is leading in the overall standings with 4 points over Dom Walsh. So as long as Simo finishes ahead of Dom Walsh, everything is set and done. If Dom Walsh finishes ahead of Simo, then the when and ifs start to kick in, and I mentioned it earlier, I have a huge note sheet of whens and ifs, but right now my note sheet Well, it is in my hand, but it's not important yet. As yeah, Simo is still ahead. The other battles, battle for 4th position, that was a foursome, is just a duel anymore between Williams and Mike Taylor. Stefan Williams is ahead by 9 points over Mike Taylor in the standings. He is ahead of Taylor right now, so just the same as in the battle Simo and Tom Walsh. As long as Stefan Williams is ahead of Taylor, everything is fine. We just need to get out the big whens and ifs if Taylor finishes ahead of Williams. The other guys battling for 4th are not in the race anymore. Battle for P10th, I mentioned it already, that is decided. Leonard Cam, Ninja Pro both are out, so P10 is to Leonard Cam. And the battle for 12, Steven Horchitz, Scuba against Mirko Caruso, Rockstar. Have a look, P4 and P5. That will be interesting. They both are level on 62 points. So there's actually not a big strategy or something like that. Just who finishes ahead will be given P12. And last but not least, our Constructors Championship. We see Williams leading Ferrari by 4 points. And Williams would make 15 plus 12 points, Ferrari 18 plus 10. So as close as things can get between the Ferrari and Williams, just like in 1997. Yeah, and the safety car is in this lap, so all these whens and ifs back into back next to me. The note sheet is laying next to me. Jack Rocknian is dominating the last sector, but it was actually Simo who was very slowly behind. Dom Walsh behind him, and here is the restart. Dominic Walsh against Simo, no attack possible. But maybe here, better acceleration for Dominic Walsh. Attack! The attack before turn 3. Simo needs to defend himself. No possibility for an attack. Behind him, Rockstar will be smart enough to just let them do their thing. Rockstar will probably just have a look to stay ahead of Scuba, and Simo now seems to be faster than Jack Rocknian. That was obvious. This would come sooner or later. Rocknian is sliding a lot on his already rather old mediums. The guys behind him are on mediums too, but on fresher rubbers, so this will not take too long, I would like to say. Interesting will be if Jack Rocknian will defend or fight against the championship contenders. Yes, he does. Simo attacked him but couldn't make it through the turn. Oh, and Dominic Walsh is right on him. Dominic Walsh, if he had a screwdriver, he could repair Simo's gearbox. No DRS yet. We need to wait one more lap for DRS. Simo in the slipstream of Rocknian ahead. Behind, nothing new. The big thing is what's happening here. How much will Jack Rocknian interfere in the championship battle? Simo is through. Simo is through over Rocknian, and Dom Walsh needs to get past very soon too. Simo may not pull away too much. Rocknian is defending. Well, he's racing. He is racing for a potential podium. That is okay. That is okay. But I'm not sure if he's aware of what he's doing here. And now he let them past. And Rocknian, the torpedo check, now has thrown it away. Lost a front wing end plate. And is in 10th and last position. It's like the two yellow vanished now due to Rognan digging out of the gravel pit. Uh-oh, Lawson is out. Lawson is out. Sadly, cannot jump to him anymore. He's behind there somewhere. David Lawson, our host, the next one to crash his car into the walls. And we have a safety car! My goodness! My goodness! Can you believe it? Fourth safety car. Fourth safety car. Oi, oi, oi. Yeah, okay, so only 9 men left in the grid, and the funny thing is that Codemasters has ruled this track as a very easy one, and well, the track maybe is easy, but the walls are close, and that makes it very hard actually, at least hard enough for half of our field not to finish the race. But okay, we take it. It's for fun, and it definitely brings a lot of tension into the stuff that's going on for our championship battle. So 10 laps, 11 laps, including this one, still to go, and it is as close as it is possible, as close as it can get. We have seen Dominic Walsh being very fast. Dominic Walsh is able to tag Simo, and he will have to as soon as Bernd Mailänder has left the track. So as we have another lap of safety car, I will get out the calculator very quick and have a look at the update of the Constructors' Championship. We have the Ferrari in P1 and 4th. They will receive 37 points. 37 points. The Williams will receive 18 and 15. That's 33. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Ferrari and Williams will be square. They would be level on points. Is that possible? How can that be? I need to look it up after the race. If it had ever happened that a Constructors' Championship has ended on the same amount of points, level points, they both would have 400 something points. My goodness, but all of that is just important if it finishes the way the things stand right now, and yeah, somehow I doubt that. There's a lot of chat going on in the background in our chatting groups. 50 unread news messages. I cannot read them up all at once right now, but just a little bit of explanation and excuses maybe from some guys who checked out, who crashed, and I need to read it up afterwards. It doesn't matter right now. We are now in the last 10 laps of this first MRS season, and it just can't be any closer. The sky is cloudy now. It is overcast. We already know that there shall be rain in the end, and yeah, it's cloudy. It's not raining yet. No drops yet, but this will come. This will come. For the 4th restart, we will stay on board with Dominic Walsh, and Simo has picked up the pace here. No attack from Walsh, and in the background everything went rather okay. Williams is close to Scuba, but we will stay here for the moment. Dominic Walsh was able to push ahead a few times, was able to attack Simo. He seemed faster than Simo in the last stint or in the last phase between the safety cars. Let's see if he can make it happen here again. So the whole field is very close at the moment, of course, but the most important thing is happening here. I will try to get all the action in from behind too, as good as I can, but I will have always an eye on our leaders. We have a duel here between Rognian and Grimo. Rognian pushing ahead on his fresh soft tire, so the advantage against the used hards. And here are the raindrops. Here are the raindrops delivered just as we were talking about it. So, and it seems like, it's a lot of rain. It's a lot of rain. So it will not take long until we see the first stops, and we will need inters for the end of the race. Scuba has dropped 2 positions, and Scuba is the first one to stop. No, it's not. Mirko Caruso is in. Caruso in, Scuba in, Rognan in, Taylor in, Grimo in. The top 4 have been going ahead. That's Seymour, Walsh, Williams, and Blake Gary. So Caruso, the Rockstar, will stay ahead of Scuba. And Seymour committed the deciding mistake. The deciding mistake. Maybe in our championship battle. I mentioned it, didn't I? Didn't I tell you Seymour is the one who tends to commit mistakes every once in a while? Oh. And he is out. Seymour has crashed his nose. Seymour now taking Williams with him. Oh, that's sad. Seymour was in the lead actually half the race, almost the whole race. And with the raindrops coming in, he opted to stay out for one more lap and then lost his car on acceleration on the parking lot section. And Dom Walsh is swimming over the course, swimming in the Albert Park. There is a little lake here, and he just feels like, what an incredible rain is this. Can you believe it? Tom Walsh now in the pits. Gary will be 2. Williams is 2. As Seymour in P5, he is still in the field. He is being driven by the CPU. He is not actively driving anymore. That's very sad. He is sometimes reacting a bit harsh, a bit hard. He is a very emotional person, and he has just thrown away his steering wheel, but that was a bad idea, because if he stayed with us, it wouldn't have been over yet, because if Dom Walsh is in 5th, there would be a lot of ifs. If Dominic Walsh will finish on P5, finally now I can use my ifs and that's sheet, while we have seen Grimo rushing into the barrier. My sheet, where is my sheet? If Dominic Walsh finished in 5th, Seymour could have been 6th and would still have been champion. And we have seen so many DNFs, and Seymour should just have come back, get himself intermediates and a new nose, and try to get into 6th position. That would have been possible. That is possible, Peter. But sadly, in case you hear me, in case you are with us here in the stream, in case you rewatch it tomorrow or anything, this would have been possible. So, 5 laps to go in Season 1 of our MRS Championship. Things aren't decided yet. It is not over yet. There are still some things that need to be decided. And how incredible is that? P1 for our Rockstar 812, Mirko Caruso, who is a rockstar. Just look up his name, Mirko Caruso, on Spotify, and you will find out what or why, where his nickname comes from. He leads the pack now in front of Scuba. Incredible. And Mike Taylor has crashed. Mike Taylor, let's try to get it depicted just ahead. There he is, a wrecked Alfa Romeo. Yeah, he said he wasn't feeling well today and he tried his best to finish the season, and he was almost able to, just almost. And yeah, where was I? I was talking about these two guys, Mirko Caruso and Scuba. I mentioned it already a few times. They are level, they are square, 62 points each. So whoever finishes ahead will be in P12 in our overall standings in the end. And as things stand now, it looks like this will be Mirko Caruso. And the interesting fact about it, we have two drivers who came in just midway through the season. That was Caruso and Jarne van der Brijl, and both were really strong drivers. They had some great results, both standing on the podium a few times. Jarne van der Brijl won in Monaco his first Grand Prix, and today maybe is the day where the other top rookie, Rockstar, will win his first race. Scuba did so too. Scuba won the Bahrain Grand Prix. Oh, Williams needs to take a whole portion of grass here, not to crash into the rear of Blake Gary. So things are decided for him. He is cemented in 4th overall. Congratulations to Stefan Williams for that. Just try to finish your season as cleanly as possible. Please, let's not have a 5th safety car here. Yeah, it's actually now everything more or less, everything said and done. Those two guys are the only who still try to battling it out here in slippery conditions. No DRS anymore, of course. Williams pushes ahead, doesn't need DRS, he's faster on the straight and is ahead of Blake Gary here. Yes, he is. Blake Gary, the only one who has a penalty. This has luckily not been an issue for tonight. So while we watch our leaders, let's have a short look about our standings again, if there is still anything that needs to be decided, where we need to have an eye on. Stefan Williams is cemented in 4th, Mike Taylor cemented in 5th, as Mond is out, Van der Brijl is out, Leonard Cam is out, Ninja Pro is out, Stephen Hodgetts and Mirko Caruso, I mentioned it. Those two guys are still in a battle for 12th, but right now 3.2 seconds away of each other. So Scuba, who we see right here, right now, will need a lot of time to make up. He seems to be the faster one. He has, yeah, made up a little bit of ground, coming closer a few tenths, but yeah, time will just run out. So There's just not enough time left for him. Oh, Rockstar committed a mistake ahead of him. Rockstar is out. Oh no, Rockstar with a damaged front wing. Oh, and this is it. His win chances have just vanished. He is slowly rowing in the lake of Albert Park here. Oh, that is sad. That is very sad for the Rockstar. I would have liked the fact he having his first MIS victory here today. So we've seen a few debut season victories. And he will need a new nose here and then will drop back to P6 or 7, I would like to assume. And all that makes Scuba a new leader. Scuba, who won the Bahrain Grand Prix, totally different race. Desert race, totally dry race, totally different track. Scuba had some troubled races during the season. He had some very good and, sorry if I say so, very bad results likewise. But today was a good day for him. He has shown us that he can race in mixed conditions, no matter if dry or slippery. He kept a cool head in all the action going on, did not commit a mistake, and therefore took advantage of other guys committing mistakes, like we just saw. And so 1.5 laps left in this race and in this season to decide whatever needs to be decided, and right now Scuba would be on the upper hand against Rockstar then again for overall P12. And with a Ferrari win and Williams P2 and 6, Williams would stay ahead in the Constructor Championship. That's another thing for Peter Simpson. If he stayed in the race, he could have made up a few more points, and that might have made it possible for Ferrari to push ahead. Only 4 points were between Williams and Ferrari before the race. Yeah, and Ferrari will make points, will get close, but not overtake the Williams. And we are officially in the last lap of our season. The last 5.5 kilometers of mainstream racing series. And we enjoy these last kilometers here with Steven Hodgitz. I am sure that his family will sit at home in front of their TV and watch his race, and in approximately 3-point-something kilometers they will celebrate once again. The second victory for Scuba is just a few turns away. He's driving cautiously. I think there is 2.5 seconds of gap behind on Don Walsh, so no need to risk anything for him. Some yellow in sector 1. This was maybe Caruso. Looks like a Williams. Yes, it is. Caruso was slow there. Oh, and I have to get my calculator out again. If it might be enough for Ferrari for the Constructors' Championship, I will do that afterwards. Right now, for the moment, let's just celebrate the end of this race. Congratulations, Steven Hodgitz, and even more, congratulations, Dominic Walsh! Dominic Walsh, mainstream racing champion! In P3, how incredible is that? Another rookie achieving his first podium in his rookie season. My favorite name, Smkska Jack Rocknian, who introduced himself as Torpedo Jack. Congratulations to the third position here, Stefan Williams in fourth, just where he finished in the overall standings. P5 goes to Blake Gary, a lot of up and down for him, but in the end, in the second half of the race, he did not commit a mistake and therefore gets granted a full load of points. P6 is given to Grimo, who we will be on board with when we finish the session. Driver of the day is Blake Gary. And yeah, everyone who is watching us, please stay within the stream. We will have a little show run afterwards. So right after the race, right after the podium, we will have a little championship celebration, a 3 laps installation lap. But first, the champagne for Stephen Hodgetts. Congratulations! And a big portion of champagne and celebration all night long for the number 1 Williams driver. So here is the final result after penalties. Stephen Hodgetts has won the race in front of Dominic Walsh and Jack Rocknian. Stefan Williams finished in 4th, Blake Gary in 5. 6 goes to Mark Goodman, 7 Mikko Caruso, 8 Peter Simpson, and the rest did not finish. That is Mike Taylor, David Lawson, Martin Price, Thomas Walsh, Andrew Mont, Simon Gustafsson, Thomas Ward, Stuart McDonald, Craig Dickinson, and Brendan Walsh. So, with these final pictures of the track here in Melbourne, once again, please stay with us for a few minutes as we will have the official championship celebration right afterwards. Everyone will stay in the lobby. Those guys who left hopefully will rejoin very soon again. And I definitely need to have a sip of water right now, so I will be back in a moment. Okay, as I just heard, we have sadly too many people who already left the session and are unreachable, unable to return right here now, short-handed, on short term. So that means the planned little runoff is not going to happen, sadly. So this would have been a pretty cool way of saying goodbye to our first season. But okay, nevertheless, we will return. We will have one Wednesday of break and then return to the racing track on February 24th with season 2. That will be just as great as the first one was. I am very sure of that. And so for the moment, all I can say is thank you for being with us, not only tonight, but in the whole year, the whole season, the last weeks and months. It was a pleasure for me to broadcast you the MRS action into your living room. And I hope you will be with us again as soon as we kick off season 2. February 24th, as I mentioned, around about 7:30 p.m. UK time. I think the clock time will stay just as it was all these weeks. And yes, I hope you will be with us again. Until then, stay safe in these times and have a good evening. And very importantly, keep racing.